Today, we're diving into a story that left an unforgettable mark on the world. 5 significant events that took place after Jesus' death. This isn't your typical Sunday school lesson. We're breaking down the major events that followed the crucifixion of the Son of God. So, grab a seat, get comfortable, and let's get started. First, there was an earthquake, not just any ordinary quake, but one that caused the whole earth to shake. It was nature's way of reacting to something monumental. The earth trembled and the rocks split apart. Matthew tells us that the earth shook and the rocks split. This wasn't just a random natural event. It was a powerful response to a divine occurrence. The ground beneath your feet doesn't shake for no reason. And this was a sign that something extraordinary was happening. The earthquake at the moment of Jesus' death represents a cosmic disturbance. It's as if the world itself couldn't bear the weight of what had just taken place. The Son of God, the creator of everything, had just died. Picture the shock waves, not just physically but spiritually. The entire universe felt that moment. The splitting rocks remind us of the tearing of the temple veil, which we'll talk about next. Both represent the breaking of old barriers and the beginning of a new era. Take a moment to reflect on this. The earth shaking, rocks splitting, a clear sign that this wasn't an ordinary event. It was the universe acknowledging the magnitude of Jesus' death. What do you think the earthquake symbolized? Share your thoughts in the comments. Number 2, the tombs opened. Now things get truly wild. Matthew tells us that many righteous people who had passed away were raised. They came out of their tombs, walked into Jerusalem, and appeared to many. Imagine the scene. An earthquake shakes open the tombs, and then, boom, people who were dead are now alive walking around. This isn't a zombie movie. This is divine power in action. These resurrected saints are a witness to Jesus' victory over death. It's a glimpse of what's to come for all believers. These weren't just any random people. They were likely significant figures from Israel's history, perhaps prophets or other holy individuals. Their resurrection served as a powerful sign of Jesus' triumph over death. They didn't just appear to a couple of people, they were seen by many in Jerusalem. This was a public and undeniable proof that something extraordinary had occurred. It was almost like a preview of the main event, Jesus' own resurrection, which would follow shortly. Imagine being in Jerusalem and seeing people you knew were dead, walking around. The shock, the awe, the irrefutable evidence that something divine had happened. The resurrection of these saints wasn't just a historical moment, but a theological statement. It was God showing that death had been conquered. How do you think you would react if you saw people coming back to life? Let me know in the comments. Number 3, the temple veil was torn in two. Matthew 27 verses 50 to 51 tells us that when Jesus gave up his spirit, the veil in the temple was torn from top to bottom. This veil wasn't just any curtain. It separated the Holy of Holies, the sacred space where only the high priest could enter, from the rest of the temple. When that veil was torn, it symbolized the end of the separation between God and humanity. Now, through Jesus, we all have direct access to God. No more barriers, no more mediators. This was a huge shift in spiritual access. The veil was thick and heavy, about 60 feet high and 4 inches thick. Tearing it from top to bottom would have been impossible for any human, symbolizing that this act was divine. The Holy of Holies was where God's presence dwelled, and only the high priest could enter, and that only once a year. The tearing of the veil signifies that Jesus, through his sacrifice, has given us direct access to God. This is massive. It means we don't need a human mediator to approach God. We can come to him directly and boldly because of Jesus' sacrifice. Picture this: the temple, the heart of religious life, with that massive veil that everyone knew separated God from man. And suddenly it's torn in two from top to bottom. The message is clear. Through Jesus, that barrier is gone. The tearing of the veil is a profound theological moment. It marks the end of the Old Covenant and the start of the new covenant. In the Old Covenant, only the high priest could enter the Holy of Holies, and only once a year on the Day of Atonement. But now, through Jesus, we have direct access to God. No longer do we need a human mediator, because Jesus is our mediator. This event highlights the profound change Jesus' death brought to our relationship with God. What does having direct access to God mean to you personally? Share your thoughts below. Number 4. There was darkness over the entire land. From noon to 3 p.m., darkness covered the land. This wasn't just an eclipse or some weather anomaly. It was a supernatural event that fulfilled prophecy. Amos 8 verse 9 speaks of the sun going down at noon, darkening the earth in broad daylight. This darkness was a symbol of mourning, judgment, and the weight of what was happening. The Creator was grieving the death of his Son, and the land reflected that. Darkness at noon would have been incredibly eerie, a stark contrast to the brightness expected at midday. This event fulfilled the prophecy in Amos, showing that God's judgment and sorrow were being poured out. It's as if the world itself was mourning with those who loved Jesus. It also symbolized the spiritual darkness present at the time, as the light of the world was being extinguished on the cross. Imagine being there, standing in what should be the brightest part of the day, and suddenly everything goes dark. It would have felt like the end of the world, a clear sign that something extraordinary was happening. The darkness that covered the land was a powerful symbol of God's judgment. It's as if creation itself was mourning the death of the Creator. This event fulfilled prophecy and underscored the weight of what was taking place. Jesus, the light of the world, was being crucified, and the world was plunged into darkness. This darkness wasn't just physical, it was spiritual, emphasizing the separation from God that sin brings. How do you interpret the significance of the darkness that covered the land? Share your thoughts in the comments. Number 5. The soldier overseeing the execution recognized that Jesus was innocent. The centurion and his men, battle-hardened soldiers who had seen it all, were terrified by what they had witnessed. The earthquake, the darkness, everything. The centurion declared, "Truly, this was the Son of God." This wasn't a casual remark. It was a profound realization from a man who had likely overseen many crucifixions. He saw the difference, felt the power, and understood the truth. This Roman soldier's heart was moved by the events surrounding Jesus' death. The centurion was a seasoned soldier, probably desensitized to violence and death. Yet what he saw that day was unlike anything he had ever experienced. The supernatural events, the earthquake, the darkness, and the way Jesus died with dignity and forgiveness in his heart, broke through his hardened exterior. His declaration was a moment of deep truth and recognition. This statement from a Roman soldier is significant because it shows that the truth of Jesus' identity was undeniable, even to those who weren't predisposed to believe. Think about it. A man who had probably witnessed countless executions suddenly moved to declare Jesus as the Son of God. It speaks volumes about the impact of Jesus' crucifixion. The centurion's statement is a powerful testimony to the truth of Jesus' identity. This man, who had likely overseen many crucifixions, saw something different in Jesus. The way Jesus died, with forgiveness on his lips and supernatural events surrounding his death, caused the centurion to recognize the truth. This declaration is a reminder that Jesus' identity is undeniable, even to those who might be skeptical. What do you think made the centurion change his mind about Jesus? Drop your thoughts in the comments. So, there you have it. 5 remarkable events that happened after Jesus died. These aren't just stories. They're powerful testaments to the reality of who Jesus was and what he accomplished. If you found this insightful, hit that subscribe button, like, and share. Let's spread the truth and continue growing together. Stay strong, stay focused, and remember, truth always prevails. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences related to these events. Have you ever had a moment that changed your perspective, just like the centurion? Share your stories in the comments, and let's start a conversation. Thanks for being here, and may God bless you. Peace out.